Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Give me 1 second. When you got young kids at home, a lot of times they unfortunately have the unfortunate thing of getting you sick with them. So right now, kind of getting over a little something, but definitely nice to be here. Definitely nice to be here. What's interesting, everybody, is that when I first you who's better athlete, what Chris Brown thinks of Drake's new album, who's better, Tupac or Biggie, that kind of stuff. When I first started Financial 90% of the content I was seeing for people that look like me, essentially brothers, black men, is that we were always talking about entertainment and things like that. And entertainment has its place. At the end of the day, I am a mechanical engineer. If you're not familiar with Financial, I'm a mechanical engineer. I got my MBA in finance, and I went the academic blue collar route after I graduated from college. I mean, I've been an athlete my entire life. I played sports. I talked about guns, firearms, becoming a CRSO, all that kind of stuff. Becoming a pistol rifle instructor, boxing, kickboxing, doing mixed martial arts, all that stuff. So I've always been an athlete slash scholar. But when I first started Financial, I got sick and tired of only seeing black men, especially only talking about, like I said earlier, music, hip hop, and sports. So I was like, let me kind of change the game. Let me use my academic pedigree and some of my life experiences as far as being a black man that grew up in 4 different murder capitals, who saw a lot of stuff growing up, who's seen drive-bys, who got offered to sell drugs, who got offers to join gangs, stuff like that. Let me kind of talk about my life experiences as far as making it through some of those experiences, some of the crazy wild things I've had in my life, and honestly talk about the business and what I'm going to call the ministry of teaching people how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, and how to build generational wealth. And that is the reason why I started Financipation. That's the reason why I started Financipation, because I wanted to change the narrative essentially of what our folks talk about when it comes to building wealth. And I think I'm doing that right now. God has blessed my business to the point where if you're not familiar with it right now, everybody, eggs are about $12 a gallon. Eggs are about $12 a carton nationwide. Gas is starting to slowly but legitimately pick up. A lot of people are starting to notice that the price of everything, with this eggs, with this gas, with this housing, all of this pretty much going up. Unemployment is going up. I just read the other day that Doge is going to firing a couple thousand federal workers that work for FEMA, which is a disaster relief government agency, which is essentially supposed to go into different neighborhoods after hurricanes and earthquakes hit and things like that. They just fired a couple thousand people there. I know a couple individuals who live and work in the DMV. They are flat out terrified right now because they're scared that they're going to essentially possibly lose their jobs and their careers because they're going to get fired. And there's a lot of tough, uncertain times that are kind of going on right now. And people are always asking me or sending me DMs and messages saying, okay, Chris, what should I do? What are your thoughts on this whole thing? And my whole take has always kind of been this. It's kind of like the same thing I used to do back in the day when I played sports, when I kickboxed, when I boxed, when I played ball, when I hooped. You should never have to get ready. You should always be ready. And what do I mean by that? So there are certain different financial things that you can do to make sure that you are always in a good position in life, whether there's a Democrat or a Republican in office. And right now, there are a lot of people, economists, there are a lot of individuals in red states and blue states that are kind of starting to turn their minds into what the current administration is doing. And the reason why they're doing that is because, once again, inflation is higher than it's ever been over the last 4 years, and unemployment is higher than it's ever been right now over the last 4 years. Additionally, a lot of people, and additionally, the cost of eggs and the cost of gas are significantly rising, and with a lot of things that are going on as far as measles breaking out and things like that, people start to wonder, okay, what is going on? As I said earlier, I've always personally thought that the things that you can focus on in your life, focus on that, and the things that you can't focus on, I'm not gonna say don't put any emphasis into it, but from a financial perspective, everybody, as I said earlier, you should not have don't you don't have to worry you do not have to worry about getting ready. I mean, you don't have to worry, about getting ready if you are already ready. So don't worry about getting ready. You should be ready. And by be ready, I mean as simple as this. There are certain financial habits, certain financial things that you can be doing to make sure that you and your family are always in a good place. Now, I say on my channel, Financipation, that essentially I give you a 6-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial knowledge for free for the things that I teach on this channel. And the reason why I say that is because, in general, I always try to push things and I always try to push concepts that are essentially going to help you become a millionaire. Now, as a guy who spent $120,000 to get my MBA, The things that I learned in grad school, I like giving to you for free. And during this particular podcast, we're going to talk about different, I'm going to call them investment habits that I have learned over the years from consulting with multimillionaires and decamillionaires over the years in regards to helping them with their finances, and also things that have worked for my family and I. And as I said earlier, everybody, yes, we are kind of entering into some very uncertain economic times. According to a lot of the economists that I read, such as individuals like in the Wall Street Journal, Investopedia, Money Market, Mad Money, and places like that, and also the Fed, is starting to say that we're on the precipice of a recession. And what's interesting about another 2008 style Great Recession, and what's interesting about the recessions is that if you know what you're doing, you can essentially make unfathomable amounts of money during that time period. More billionaires were made essentially from 2008 more billionaires were made from 2008 to 2010 than almost any other period in American history. And the reason why was because people that had lots of discretionary income, i.e., liquid cash, they were able to come in and swoop in and basically buy a lot of the foreclosed homes that a lot of Americans unfortunately lost throughout that 2 year period. And additionally, people that also had large amounts of liquid cash, they also were able to buy lots of stocks during that same time period. And I find this interesting because a lot of times people that push the stock market, they don't actually invest. I mean, a lot of times people who are in recessions, they talk about buying the dip and not buying the dip and things like that. Here's my advice to anyone that's listening, okay? What would you say if you walk into a Gucci or Armani or a Dolce & Gabbana store and everything was 50% off? You would pretty much spend, if you like those brands, you would spend as much money as you possibly could because you knew you were buying $4,000 and $5,000 purses and shoes and sneakers for literally 50% on the dollar. Well, everybody, what would you say if a person told you that at those same stores it was 50% off and you should basically run out of there and start screaming because everything is 50% off? That's essentially, everyone, what happens when people start saying, oh, the sky is falling, a recession is here, don't spend your money, don't buy any stocks. It's stupid. When eggs are on sale, you buy eggs. When designer clothes are on sale, if you're into buying designer clothes, you buy designer clothes. When luxury cars are quote unquote on sale, that's when you want to buy a quote unquote luxury car. The stock market is the only thing that I can think of that when it is on sale, i.e., when a recession or even better yet, a depression is here, people tell you don't buy stocks. They say sell them. That is extremely stupid. Selling a stock during a recession or a huge depression is literally like running out of that store that I was talking about, a Dolce & Gabbana, Nike, whatever it is, your Timberlands, whatever you're into, your Jordan brand, whatever you're into. Not buying stocks during a recession is literally like walking into your favorite brand of clothing store, Michael Kors, Versace, whatever it is, Gucci, whatever it is, and literally running out and screaming and not spending any money in there. Because when eggs are on sale, you buy eggs. When the recessions are here and depressions are here, that's when stocks are on sale. That's when you want to buy them. And the beautiful thing about the American version of capitalism is that even during the Great Depression and World War II, which are and COVID and 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, during those are in the 1980s. Those are arguably the 5 worst economic times in American history, and everyone that bought stocks during those time periods saw insanely large amounts of wealth eventually over time. This is what I mean by that. Individuals that invested in gold since the 1970s have only had a return rate of about 6 to 7%. Individuals that invested into the stock market since the 1970s have had a return of roughly 12%. From the 1970s to today, we've had multiple wars. We've had the Vietnam War. We've had September 11th. We've had COVID. We've had the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. And individuals that invested into stocks literally over nearly double the amount of money than people that essentially invested into gold. And the crazy thing is, people that invested into stocks over that same 50-year time period got over 1,200 times more money than people that simply left their money in the bank. So what I'm telling you is this, people. If we do have a recession that's coming, and by all accounts, based off of what economists are saying, based off of what I'm saying, based off of what's going on with our economy in regards to the stock market, in regard to housing, in regards to inflation going up, in regard to unemployment going up, in regards to all these federal workers that are being employed, that are being fired, in regards to all these deportations that are going on, in regards to these trade wars that are starting, that have already started, yes, I personally believe we are headed towards a recession. But the thing about it is, if we do have a recession, everybody, this is the time you want to buy stocks. This is the time you want to have liquid cash so that you can essentially buy homes that are going to get foreclosed. So yes, while my heart does go out to the individuals that are going to be negatively affected, this is the perfect time, everyone, for you to make a lot of money. By the way, as far as making money, please, if you do want to help me, my cash app is $ Chris P485. That's CHRIS P485. By all means, please send a couple dollars, a couple bills. It helps the family, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. Okay, I truly do. I truly do. Keep the questions coming too, by the way, everybody. Keep the questions coming. So now that we've gotten that out of the way in regards to the importance of, I would say, investing during the stock investing if we do have a recession coming up, I want to talk about investment habits that essentially work in regards to building wealth. And as I said, one of the dopest things I like about my business, Financipation, is that I literally get paid to sit down and talk to people and help them with their finances. And what's interesting is that there are certain financial investments that I've seen, and more importantly, financial habits that I've seen that people from every walk of life, no matter what color they are, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, people from every religion, atheist, agnostic, Christian, Muslim, Sikh, doesn't matter, Arab, Muslim, doesn't matter. There are certain types of financial things that I've noticed, financial habits that certain people do, regardless of where they come from, regardless of the gender is, and regardless of who they pray to, that work. And because of that, I thought this would be a very good top podcast and a very good live session where we could go into. Sorry, everybody. Once again, I got young kids at home, and sometimes they cough in your face a lot. All right, so sorry, but there are certain types of investment habits, everybody, that just flat out work. And one of the first investment habits that I have noticed that people do that work is this: they take care of their bodies. To all my fellas that are listening, okay? Because I'm gonna start with the guys first because I'm not really gonna start with the women because I very clearly am not that. So let's start with the fellas first. Guys, do you realize that we are really pretty much on this planet only to do about three things: to protect, to provide, and to lead? The interesting thing about that is that in regards to protecting, providing, and leading, do you realize that you have to be in very good shape to do all three of those? If you're a fat slob and you can't protect your wife or protect your kids or protect yourself, no woman is gonna feel comfortable walking down a dark alley with you because because you're unfortunately trying to get to your car. No woman is gonna feel comfortable laying next to you at night if she knows that you can't defend her and you can't protect her. So how in the world, as a man, do you plan on being able to protect the individuals that you love if you are completely out of shape and if you never take time to take care of your body? Now, I'm a firm believer in nonviolence. I truly do believe that the world is a much better place when people are not essentially trying to just hurt each other and kill each other. I truly believe that. Having said that, I also believe that every man should, to some extent, have the ability to be able to produce violence in the event that it requires defending himself and defending his family. As a result of that, I op- I openly tell men of all colors and genders that you need to take some boxing classes, some kickboxing classes, some jujitsu classes, get a concealed carry license. Just because the world, unfortunately, is not getting any safer, you should regularly go to gun ranges and basically fire firearms. And the reason why I say that is because in the unlikely event that you ever are forced to defend yourself or defend your family, you want to be the one to dictate essentially what happens. That is the reason why I have done Muay Thai, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts for over 20 years. That is the reason why I'm an NRA certified pistol and rifle instructor, while I'm also a chief range safety officer. Because at the end of the day, a person that can defend themselves, and more importantly, a person that knows how to defend themselves and to defend their family, we make society safer. So to my men that are listening, you should basically make sure you take care of your body. That's just purely from a mental perspective. From a physical perspective, how in the world do you expect a woman to be attracted to you, fellas, if you get out of the shower and your stomach is literally hanging below your manhood? Women are visual creatures as well, fellas, so take care of your body. And lastly, and most importantly, because it is a finance channel, let's just cut right to the financial facts. Let's say you make $100,000, right? And let's say you are 40 years old. And let's say you unfortunately die of a heart attack at 40. You just cost your family $2.5 million because you died 25 years prematurely. The retirement age is 65. If you die at 40, you basically cost your family 25 years of wealth, or $2.5 million. So as a result of that, everybody, fellas, the first The first investment habit that builds any form of wealth is taking care of your body. And ladies, this goes for you, ladies, as well. Because at the end of the day, a woman that calls in sick all the time, a woman that is unfortunately unreliable with her health, a woman that can't be trusted essentially to come to work on time, and a woman who's running her own business but she can only work 30 hours a week because she's sick the other 120 hours a week. She's a liability to herself and to her business. So this is a two-way street, people. One of the first investment habits that I've noticed is a person that invests into their health. And once again, you don't have to be some pro athlete. You don't have to be like some guru in the weight room, stuff like that. The amazing thing about the modern day society is that you can literally outsource the things that are needed. So if you've never lifted a weight, never hit a heavy bag, never kickboxed, never ran, never done any stuff. Let's say you were not an athlete at all in high school or in college. Guess what? There are these things called personal trainers. And with a personal trainer, they can teach you how to work in your lats. They can teach you how to work in your glutes. They can teach you how to work essentially on your mental approach to basically getting in shape and staying in shape. They can teach you, a dietitian can teach you essentially how to, a nutritionist can essentially teach you how to rest and recover. There are different things that you can find online for free, I might add, that can literally teach you all of these things. So there's no excuse, in my opinion, in the 21st century, why a person who doesn't want to get in shape can't get in shape. And there's no, outside of them having health issues, and there's no reason why a person who is physically inadequate can't physically strengthen their body. And it's not about being skinny, everybody. It's about being healthy. So remember that. My personal advice, lift weights 3 times a week, do cardio 3 times a week, and rest at least 1 or 2 days a week. And also eat healthy and drink lots of water. Problem solved. So the first investment habit that builds real wealth, everyone, is taking care of your physical body. Because when it boils down to it, God only gives us one body. And you do not want to be the kind of individual who spends all of your health getting your wealth, and then having to turn around and spend all of your health to get your wealth back. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Next, the next investment habit that builds legitimate wealth is you have to learn how to embrace the Roth concept for all of your financial investments. So this is one of those things that I like to talk about because it kind of just is one of those things that it's not necessarily how much money you make. It's what you do with the money that you make, and it's learning how to be tax efficient with your investments. So legally lowering your taxes is easily one of the most important things a person can do when it comes to building wealth. And this is what I mean by that. So let's say you are in a situation, let's say if you watch football, you watch basketball, you're gonna know where I'm going with this. The teams that win Super Bowls and the teams that win NBA championships, it's not the team that scores the most points, it's the team that has the best defense. So think of your salary as your offense. So if you make $1 million a year, that's a very good offense. But if you're spending $1.2 million a year on taxes, then guess what? You're losing all your money. And on top of that, if you think of taxes as defense, that means the best way to essentially win a football game or a basketball game is to have really good offense, like basically an extremely high salary, and to have really good defense, which in this case is legally lowering your taxes. And the Roth concept is a perfect way to legally lower your taxes. And the reason why is simple. With a Roth, you essentially pay your taxes today, and your taxes grow, and your money grows tax-free. Now, why is that important? That is important for one very simple reason. Right now, whether it was the Obama administration, the Trump administration, the Biden administration, or the Trump administration again, taxes are historically lower today than they've ever been. And because they are historically lower today than they've ever been, that means 2 things are happening. One, it means today is a very good time to pay your taxes. And 2, it means that our national deficits are sky high, right? Are skyrocketing right now. Last time I checked, our national debt is at 34 trillion with the T dollars. What that means is this: if your taxes are extremely low today, which they are, and the national debt is extremely high, which it is, at some point down the line, there's going to be a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent candidate that's going to show up, that's going to win the presidential election, and they're going to have Congress behind them. And that Republican, that Democrat, or that independent president, whatever political party they align to, is going to raise everyone's taxes. Whether that's 2028, whether that's 2038, it doesn't matter. At some point, some candidate is going to get into office and they're going to have to raise everybody's taxes. And you do not want to be stuck out in these streets, essentially, when that happens. You want to be the guy, essentially, that pays your taxes today so that years later, when they do raise everybody's taxes, you can feel sorry for everyone else, but at the end of the day, you know you're good because you've already paid your fair share of taxes years ago when taxes were low. And that is essentially what the Roth IRA concept. That's essentially what the Roth concept is. With the Roth, you pay your taxes today, and that thing grows just tax free. So I would advise all of you guys to listen to the Roth concept. So whether it's the Roth 401k, the Roth IRA, the Roth SEP IRA, whatever it is that you're investing into, the Roth concept is what you want to do. And the reason why that's what you want to do is because at the end of the day, that Roth concept is going to allow you to legally lower your taxes. Once again, everybody, my cash app is $CHRISP485. Or you can just hit that super chat, okay? And please support the channel because I love giving you guys free content here on Financipation. So learn to embrace the Roth concept, everybody. If you have a 401k, a traditional 401k at work, or a Roth 401k, my advice is get the Roth 401k. If you have a traditional IRA or you have a Roth IRA, my advice is get the Roth IRA. If you have a Roth SEP IRA, sorry, sorry everybody. So if you have a SEP IRA that's a Roth SEP IRA. I'm sorry, if you're a business owner and you have a self-employed pension IRA, a self-employed professional IRA, I'm sorry, or you have a Roth self-employed I'm sorry everybody, whether you have a Roth SEP IRA or you have a traditional SEP IRA, get the Roth SEP IRA. And the reason why is simple, because if you have a Roth SEP IRA, it allows you to pay your taxes once again today. You don't have to pay them later. And the good thing about doing that is, everyone, it allows your money to grow tax-free, because nothing is kind of sadder to some extent when I'm sitting down with a typical an older person or older couple, and they say they have $500,000 saved in their retirement accounts. And they legitimately do have $500,000 saved into the traditional IRA. But then you factor in taxes and fees and commissions from their financial planners and things like that. This couple that thought they had $500,000 is in reality only has about $350,000 basically saved in there after the taxes hit. And if you think you're going to live 20 years in retirement on $500,000, and then you find out the day that you retire, or the day you talk to, or the day that you essentially start trying to withdraw your funds after 65, that you only have $350,000 in your account, you have to live 20 years on that. That is a very scary process. And unfortunately, I see that happen to countless people who I talk to on a daily basis when we do our financial consultations. So, should took a loss into it. Learn to embrace the Roth concept, okay? Next. The next investment habit that I want you to The next investment habit that I want you to embrace is paying yourself first. Now, this is one of those things that I really wish every American did, because it's one of those kind of concepts that it once again gets back to, do you like dividend investing? Yes, I absolutely, thank you, Action Clips. I absolutely love dividend investing. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. If I can find a stock that essentially has an extremely low expense ratio, that has an extremely high interest rate as far as what my annual percentage yield is, and also that has a very good dividend ratio, that is essentially a stock that I like purchasing. And the reason why I say that is simple. Imagine if you purchase a stock that essentially has a dividend of $2 per share, right? And let's say you purchase 1,000 shares of that stock. Now, if you have 1,000 shares of this stock and they pay you $2 per share every, let's say, 6 months, that means every 6 months you're going to get $2,000 essentially for that dividend. So as a result, yes, I am a huge proponent of dividend investing, and the way that I do my dividend investing is quite simple. Once again, if I get $1,000 shares, and I get $2 per share every 6 months, and that means $2,000. I don't take that $2,000 and buy a bunch of Jordans. I don't take that $2,000 and make it rain at the club. I don't take that $2,000 and blow it all essentially on one night in Miami or anything like that. I take that $2,000 and I invest it directly back into my brokerage account, into my IRAs, into my retirement accounts. And by doing that, that $2,000 compounds itself, and in a year or two, it's $4,000, or in a year or two, it's $5,000, or in 10 years, it's $20,000. So yes, I am a huge proponent, everyone, of dividend investing, and I think that more people should do that. So absolutely. So I love dividends. Thank you for the question, by the way, Action Clips. Thank you for the question. Please support the channel. You can hit my super chat or my cash app is $CHRIS P as in preacher 485. Okay. So yeah, I love dividend investing, and I wish more. I wish everyone would do it. It's one of those kind of things that they don't talk about dividend investing in the hood. They don't talk about dividend investing in the projects. They don't talk about dividend investing at the AU terms or in the trailer parks and things like that. We don't talk about this kind of stuff essentially in the parts of America that look like me. And I want to change that. And additionally, from what I'm hearing, we also don't talk about dividend investing for that part in the more poorer rural areas of America either. And this is why I say that to me, financial literacy, I call it a ministry, because if people knew how to invest their money as early as, let's say, 7 or 8 years old, the amount of money that that person would accumulate by the time they were 84 or 85 years old after literally 80 years of investing would literally change not their tree, not their children's financial tree, but their grandchildren's financial tree. And that's the reason why I'm so serious about financial emancipation or financipation, because the more that we know about our finances and how to, more important, how to build our finances, the more we're going to essentially retire with dignity and respect, and probably retire early. And I also won't lie to you, the more you find out about finances, it kind of pisses you off a little bit, because you think to yourself, why didn't I know this stuff earlier? Why did I not learn this when I was 16 or when I was 15 or when I was 12? Why did I not learn this until I was 30? And it's one of those kind of things that it doesn't matter when you learn it, as long as you're doing the right thing, you're going to end up in a much better place, okay? Thank you for that question. I appreciate it. Thank you for that question. And keep them coming, keep them coming. If you got any other ones, action clips, by all means, please send them my way, okay? Please send them my way. Yeah, I love dividend investing. But yeah, that's the first financial habit. I mean, that's one of the financial habits that I want you guys to do. Make paying yourself literally your first priority. Every time you get paid, I don't care whether you're a lifeguard, or whether you work at McDonald's, or whether you're a neurosurgeon. Every time you get paid, you should set up a certain percentage of your income that goes directly into your brokerage account and or directly into one of your retirement accounts. And the reason why is simple. If you're investing $50 or $250 or 3% or 10%, every time you get paid, eventually at some point you're going to look at the amount of money in your account. You're going to be like, whoa, okay, all right. I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right, I'm at 50,000. Okay, cool. And then before you know it, you're going to look at your account again and say, okay, I like what I'm seeing. I'm at 100,000. And then before you know it, you're going to look up and say, oh, okay, wait a minute. What are your favorite stocks or ETFs for the dividend? So, let me ask you a question, Action Clips. I want you to book a one-on-one session with me, okay? Because I'm liking these questions that you're asking. And in general, I'll say this. There's knowledge that I give on my live chats, and there's knowledge that I give essentially when you book a one-on-one session with me. But I will say this. In general, you will not go wrong with an account that has an extremely low expense ratio and has an extremely high annual percentage yield, and it gives you a good dividend to your it gives you a good dividend ratio for what you get. Okay, but yeah, book a one-on-one session with me, bro, because I'm liking these questions that you ask, and in general, it depends on what your actual brokerage account is or what your brokerage portfolio is, whether you're Vanguard, that's one, whether you're a Charles Schwab person, whether you're a TD Ameritrade person, whether you're a Fidelity person. That's a question that's a little challenging to ask without actually knowing who your preferred brokerage account is. But I will also say this, book a one-on-one session, because there are a lot of things that go into that. Like, what's your debt to income ratio? How much debt do you have? Are you what kind of non-negotiables do you have in your family in regards to, do you have sick children? Do you have kids that you're still putting through school? What percentage of your income can you put towards your investments, towards your saving? How much debt do you have? That's a challenging question to answer without actually knowing your total financial portfolio, your total financial well-being. And I don't just want to throw out a quote-unquote ticker symbol or anything like that without actually knowing the entire gamut. So book a one-on-one session with me. Book a one-on-one session with me, Action Clips, and let's get it cracking, okay? Because I can definitely answer that question, but I need to know a little bit more about where you stand financially, okay? And another thing too that I like to tell people is this: you have to know what your financial goals are. If you are 65 years old and you're asking me that question versus a 10-year-old that's asking me that question, both people are in kind of slightly different phases in life. Obviously, one person is gonna, for an example, one person is gonna qualify for Social Security. The other person is not gonna qualify for Social Security, and it probably will not be around for that 10-year-old 55 or 70 years from now, whenever they're gonna qualify for it. Are you paying alimony or child support? There's just different things that are kind of going into that question that make it a little challenging to answer. Okay, so yeah. But pay yourself first. That's what I'm gonna just completely stress and harp on the people. Because when you get paid, you should have in your mind, okay, I'm investing 5% of my income. I'm investing 15% of my income. I'm investing 20 cents of every dollar that I make. Whatever your investment strategy should be, make sure that you are paying yourself first. And by paying yourself first, I don't mean you're basically going out here you're tricking. I don't mean you're basically going out here you're buying a new car. I don't mean you're basically going out here you're buying the freshest Jordans, or you're buying a new cowboy. Or you're buying a new cowboy hat. You're buying a new pickup truck. And no, I mean you should literally be investing into things that are gonna build your wealth. Yeah, you're welcome. Appreciate it. Action clips. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. If you go to my website www.therealfinancialpatient.com, you're gonna see a red button that says investment session, and it'll walk you through it. Okay. But yeah, I would love to kind of delve a little deeper into your finances and delve a little deeper into like just your debts and things like that, and also your income. And then from there, I can tailor make a program for you that's going to allow you to eventually, as I said earlier, that was going to make you rich. And eventually it's going to take you from being rich to being wealthy, and that's what I like to do. I would like to actually schedule a session with you and then kind of go from there. Okay. Thanks for the question, by the way. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So yeah, but set aside a certain percentage of your income every time you get paid. When when those Christmas checks come in from work, set aside a certain percentage, or even better yet, set aside all of it. When your birthday comes up, obviously spend a little bit of money, have some fun, get out there, kick it a little bit, take a shorty out, take a girl out to a nice date, do whatever, cook her a nice meal, save the money, whatever your thing is. But every time you get paid, whether it's birthday presents, whether it's birthday money, whether it's that third paycheck of the month, or regardless of what it could possibly be, make sure you are investing into your future self. And nobody's gonna think your future self like your old self. And your old self, which is today, your present self, should be essentially investing your money so that your future self is good to go. So the next investment habit that builds real wealth is to always invest up to the 401k match at your company. Now, this is also going into the assumption that you're. This is all. I'm sorry. This is also going under the assumption that your 401k is actually being matched. And what I mean by that is this. A decent amount, a larger percentage of companies today are not producing 401ks are not matching the 401ks for their employers, for their employees. And my personal opinion is this. If you have two companies that are offering you a job, one company matches 3% of the first 100% of the money that you put into your 401k. Yes, my investment advice is suitable for Caribbean folks living outside the United States. So I actually have friends and family. I actually have associates that live in Canada. I have associates that live in the Caribbean. I have associates that live in Africa, and I have associates that also live in the UK. And depending on what those respective countries are doing in regards to their accounts, there's something very similar to a 401k, to retirement accounts and things like that in the UK, in the Caribbean, and also in Canada. And more importantly, and so find out essentially what those are, and then from there you can kind of correlate what it is. But more importantly, if you have an internet connection, you can open a brokerage account through Fidelity. You can open a brokerage account in Vanguard. You can open a brokerage account in Charles Schwab, and if needed, you can start investing into those accounts. And when you invest into those accounts, your respective country, there's going to be taxes associated with and things like that. And there's also going to be different types of fees you may or may not have to pay in your country, just like I have to pay fees in America if I'm, for instance, going with an actively managed mutual fund that's being managed through Vanguard. But the thing about it, though, is this. Some of the financial concepts that I teach, it does not matter where you're from or what country you live in, it works. So what do I mean by that? If you live in Trinidad and Tobago, right, and I tell you to pick a career that pays as much as possible, spend as little money as possible that you possibly can, and then invest the difference into total stock markets that track the entire U.S. stock market, or I tell you to invest into things like property, land, or real estate, that is good financial advice regardless of the country that you live in, period. Because if you are cutting your spending and you're making as much money as possible, and you are putting a large percentage of your income into retirement accounts, that is putting you in the best possible situation is to essentially retire early and to retire with dignity and respect. That's whether you're in the Caribbean or not. In regards to what specific accounts you should invest into and things like that, I'm fairly certain that there's some version of 401k or some kind of employer-sponsored match in the Caribbean. Just like there is some type of 401k equivalent in Canada. And whatever that is, my advice is invest a percentage of your income just into that every time you get paid. And if there is no 401k, or there is no quote unquote Roth IRA in the Caribbean, cool. There are investments in America that you can make through, once again, the Charles Schwabs, the Vanguards, and the Fidelities. Look into those. And when you open accounts with them, see what the costs are to essentially invest into, as I said earlier, total stock market, low cost, broad market index funds. And the reason why I said that is because the expense ratios are low. The interest rates, the annual percentage yields they pay you are high, and it allows you to essentially build your wealth. And then lastly, God makes more people, he does not make more land. So buying tangible assets like land, whether you're in the Caribbean, whether you are in Africa, whether you are in the UK, whether you are in Canada, if you buy that and hold on to it, that is generational wealth you can build, give to your kids. And why I say that is because you can open up Airbnbs, or you can create farms, or you can essentially use that to eventually hold on to it. And one day some tech guy's probably gonna try to buy it and put a data center on your property. So there's certain things that I push on financial patience. It doesn't matter whether you're in America, it doesn't matter whether you're in the Caribbean, it doesn't matter whether you're in the UK. That financial advice, it works. So hopefully I answered your question. Do you have any other questions for me? And I'll definitely love answering it, Roderick. So appreciate it. Also, everybody, once again, my Cash App is $Chris P485. By all means, please, by all means, please hit that super chat button, okay? Please hit the super chat button, okay? Another thing too, Roderick, reach out to me. My website is www.therealfinancialpatient.com. I'm curious what Caribbean country that you're from, that you live in, whether it's Jamaica, Curacao, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, obviously, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic. I'm kind of curious which Caribbean countries that you live in, because from there, if you book a one-on-one session with me, I'll have a free consultation with you to find out what country you live in, what country you're talking about specifically, and then we can figure out whether or not we can figure out what the best possible investment strategies are for you. But yes, I have clients I've worked with in Canada. I have clients that I have worked with in Africa. I have clients that I've worked with as well in Europe. And once I find out what country that you're in, we can start talking. I can figure out a better way as far as how to answer your question about whether my advice works in the Caribbean. But I will tell you this once again: picking a career that pays as much as possible, cutting your spending, and then figuring out ways to invest your money, I'm going to say into the stock market or into property or into land, that works in any country and any continent in the world. And also dating the right women does too, or ladies dating the right men. That's also the best investment you can make in your life, because if you can be the most financially savvy, financially genius person. If you're sleeping next to a psycho every night, your money ain't gonna go very far, because they're gonna take it. All right, so let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. The next investment habit that builds real wealth is to invest into your education and to never stop learning. Full disclosure, I am an American. I live in the United States of America. So as a result of that, America legitimately does reward you for the amount of education that you receive. And more importantly, if you get that education in the right career, you're good to go. Yep, no problem, Roderick, no problem. Like I said, man, reach out to me, shoot me an email, therealfinancialpatient@gmail.com. I would love to delve deeper into that question that you were asking, because I'm curious which Caribbean country that you're from and which Caribbean country that you're specifically talking about, because, yes, I could definitely work with you in a one-on-one session and kind of walk you through different investments. I just kind of have to know what country that you're in. But yes, in theory, if you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can pretty much purchase stock internationally all around the world. Now there are taxes that could potentially be associated with it, and depending on which funds that you invest into, you may get hit with expense rate. You may get hit with brokerage fees and things of that nature. But depending on what it is, yes, you're good to go. And yes, you can invest literally around the world. And that's the beautiful thing about the stock market. The stock market has created more millionaires in the modern day era than any other institution in history. Period. But the next investment habit that builds real wealth, everyone, as I said earlier, is to get your education and to never stop learning. So in America, they specifically do pay you more depending on how educated you are. If you don't believe me, get a PhD. You're going to make more money than a person who has a bachelor's degree. Get a bachelor's degree. You're going to make more money than a person that never went to college. If you are blue collar, essentially get the certifications that you can work on bigger, higher, stronger, more dangerous types of equipment with higher voltage rates, and things of that nature, or higher tonnages for your air conditioning equipment, and they'll pay you more money. America, just like most of the countries in the Western world, they legitimately pay you for your education, because the more educated you are, the more valuable you are. And the more valuable a person is, the more money they can make for themselves and for their employer. So get a good education. And the education that I talk about is going to be, if you go the white collar route, is in science, it's in technology, it's in engineering, it's in mathematics, it's in healthcare, it's in law, and it's in finance. Now, not to poo-poo or belittle my other majors that are listening to this, that my other professions that are listening to this right now, because I'm not, believe me, I have nothing but respect. At the end of the day, God puts all of us on this planet to serve a purpose. And if you are living up to your God-given potential in that purpose, but it's not, you're not an engineer, you're not a lawyer, you're not a doctor, you're not a nurse, you're not a nurse practitioner, you're not a mathematician, and you're not a scientist, you still have value. But the reason why I said those 7 respective careers, science, technology, engineering, math, healthcare, law, and finance, is because in America and also in the Western world, those 7 careers pay the most money, and they also have the lowest unemployment. And I will also factor in people that become electricians, plumbers, carpenters, steam fitters, and essentially sheet metal workers or low voltage wire consultants and people like that. Why? Because blue collar is arguably one of the most slept on career paths literally in the world, because at the end of the day, people that build buildings and people that build structures, and people that learn trades, they are never unemployed. It's as simple as that. I've seen my own life through my time, through the time and the years that I spent working in construction. So if you learn a trade or you learn and or you get the right type of college degree, you increase your value to the world. And by increasing your value to the world, you get paid more money. And the thing about it, and when I say get an education, let's just move past the whole vocational thing. Never stop learning. If you are good in engineering but you suck at finance, learn more in finance. And the good thing about it is with things like Financipation, with YouTube channels like mine, I'm literally teaching you how to get better at finance. There are YouTube channels that specifically teach you how to build houses. If you want to buy a house and become a real estate investor, those are great YouTube videos to follow. There are YouTube videos and there are certifications essentially that make you better, that can essentially help you make more money in your respective career, because they teach you different things. There are YouTube videos that you can watch to teach you how to become a better nurse, a better doctor, how to become a better plumber, a better carpenter. Never stop learning. One of the best investments that I find with anybody is that the wealthiest individuals, they find a skill and they get to the point where they continually try to master that skill, and they never stop learning and getting better at what they do. One of the cool things I love about Financipation is that I've made so many financial mistakes over the course of my lifetime. But the good thing about it is that I learn from those mistakes, and my sons won't make those mistakes. And as a result, I make sure that I learn from the mistakes that I made. And as a guy that's running Financipation, is running and focusing on financial health for years, not really aiming for a home foolish. Is renting, let me see. Let me ask that question again. All right, so I think what you were asking me was, is renting a home for decades a good idea instead of owning a home? Sorry, no, Jay. This is what I'll say about that. Renting instead of home ownership. All right, got you. Cool. So there's a couple different ways to unpack that, Jay. So this is the first question I'll ask you, bro. Are you 100% going to stay in the city, in the town that you currently live in, that you are asking me this question from? So let's say you grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? And let's say you have a job where you're making $50,000 a year, and you're very good at that job. And let's say you own a home, right? And let's say you get a $90,000 job offer to move from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to St. Louis. But because you own this home, taking that $40,000 pay raise may not be as easy as just getting up and going, because you don't have the equity built into that house. Or let's say it's in an up and coming neighborhood, so selling the house is not going to be easy. So as a result of that, let's say for whatever reason you were landlocked and you were stuck in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, even though you got better opportunities to go to the Chicagos, to go to the St. Louis's, to go to the Detroits. So home ownership is very good. But because of the society that we live in today, where people literally get job offers every day to go to different parts of the country, as a millennial and as a Gen Zer, to some extent, it is a good idea to not be a homeowner for a certain period of time, because it opens up your employment opportunities to go elsewhere. Additionally, depending on your age, let's face it, a lot of times there are different dating options that present themselves in different cities that you live in. So let's say you're living in one city, you meet the right girl, or in your case, guy, or you meet the right girl or guy or whatever. and you want to move for that individual, but both of you guys own homes. So who's gonna sell their house to move and be closer to the person? And I'm pro marriage, I'm pro family, so I'm all for if you meet the right girl, and I mean, and you know she's perfect, you know she's the one you prayed about, and that's the girl for you. But you guys got to figure out who's gonna quit their job, who's gonna move for the other. That gets infinitely harder when you bring in houses and stuff like that. So it all depends. And the next thing I'll say is this: let's say you own a, let's say you have a, let's say you're renting and your rent is $2,500 a month, right? And let's say you have a 2-bedroom apartment, it's $2,500 a month, and let's say you can get a 4-bedroom home. You can rent a 4-bedroom home for $3,500 a month. So basically, $1,000 a month for the home, or and $1,000 less for the apartment. Well, you can stay in the apartment and basically take that $1,000 extra and invest it into a good exchange traded fund, or into a good real estate investment trust, or into a good total stock market index fund. So while you're renting, you can take that extra $1,000 that you're not spending for mortgage and not spending for home maintenance and things like, or HOA fees, and invest it directly into the stock market. The stock market has historically returned roughly 11% over the last 50 years. Home ownership, however, has only returned about 8% over the last 50 years. So yes, there is a slight movement in the millennial Gen Z society that all of us are, because I'm a millennial, that says it's smarter to rent for a couple of years and take the difference and throw it into the stock market, or throw it into buying land, instead of basically buying a home that has a mortgage of $3,000 a month, and then you have to spend $500 a month for your PMIs, you have to spend $300 a month for your HOA fees, and then you got to spend an extra $400 a month essentially for your utilities. So that $3,000 home that you have in actuality is costing you $4,200 a month. But that $2,500 apartment, you don't got to worry about the PMI insurance on it. You don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. You don't have to worry about HOA fees, and you also don't have to worry about maintenance for it. So you can take all the money that you're not spending for PMI, HOAs, maintenance fees, and any of the fees that come on your home, and just throw it directly into the market. So it's one of those things where it really kind of depends. I can tell you from my career, I get job offers literally every day to go to DC, to go to Los Angeles, to go to Toronto, to go to Canada, to go to New York, to go to the Midwest. I get job offers every day in my career to do that. And I can say the periods of my life I built the most wealth was because instead of me basically owning a home that kept me landlocked in that particular city that I lived in at the time, I was able to kind of go where the money essentially was and take my family where the money essentially was, and I was able to invest the difference into the stock market. So it's one of those kind of things, Jay. You got to look at your own respective situation. You got to see essentially what opportunities are available. I will say this: at some point, I do think everyone should own a home, but I also think that you should buy that home when as much debt as possible is gone, and also when you know 100% you are comfortable staying there for about 7 years. And I also think that you should buy a home where you can put about 20% down. That way you avoid the PMI. So hopefully I answered your question. Okay. Keep them coming, everybody. Keep them coming. And by the way, hit that super chat, everybody. And my cash app is $CHRISP485. But keep the questions coming, everybody. Thank you. So education, everybody. Education is the name of the game. Whether it's white collar or blue collar, never stop learning. One of the best investment habits I've realized that have built real wealth is people that literally look at their life as a never-ending cycle of education in school. And by education, everybody, I don't mean going to college, spending a lot of money, and getting another degree. I got 2 degrees, and while I love the blue collar, while I love the college, while I love the fact that I have 2 degrees, a master's degree and a bachelor's degree, some of the best education I've ever gotten in my life, I literally learned by listening to a free 15-minute YouTube video. And that was whether I was doing construction work, that was whether I was essentially studying ways to legally lower my taxes, or essentially how to become a better content creator, and doing financiation, or how to run a business with employees. Some of the best education I ever got in my life was literally by watching free things that I found online or reading a book at a library. So the wealthiest people, everyone, they never stop learning. The people that build generational wealth, essentially, they never stop learning. And the next investment habit that I just kind of want to spend some time on is real wealth, everybody. The real stuff, it is built by individuals who never stop learning and who always take education seriously, okay? Next. The next investment habit, everybody, that builds real wealth, and I talked about this one a little bit earlier, is investing into the stock market and doing it consistently for decades. Earlier, I mentioned the fact that one of the biggest proponent, one of the biggest creators of millionaires in our present day society is individuals that invest into the stock market. And that is so true. If you take a look at if you take a look at the hundreds of thousands of, I would dare say millions of people that have become millionaires by investing into the stock market, it is truly amazing. There have been guys that were street sweepers and janitors that became millionaires literally by just investing to the same stock market every day, every 2 weeks for 50 years, and they died multimillionaires. There have been individuals that have essentially become millionaires on salaries, but basically only making $30,000 a year and investing a certain percentage of their income every year into the stock, a certain percentage of their income every paycheck into the stock market. And the good thing about the stock market is it's a passive way of building wealth. What I mean by that is this: if you are constantly investing into a stock that has a low expense ratio and it has a annual percentage yield of above 3%, and the reason why I say above 3% is because the inflation rate is 3%. You are always going to make money on that particular stock. And why I say that is because if you are investing into a total stock market index fund that it basically matches the stock market, over the last 50 to 75 years, that stock has averaged about 11%. So individuals that invest into that and they hold on to it for decades, they don't get hit with capital gains taxes. They don't get hit with the brokerage fees. They also don't get hit with They also don't get hit with financial investment fees, because the people that they're investing into, it's a passive fund. So invest into the stock market. Einstein said it best, everybody. Compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And when you invest into the stock market and you do it for decades, you are literally building upon compounding interest, upon compounding interest, upon compounding interest. It's kind of like a snowball that essentially rolls down the hill. At the very beginning, it's a few specks of snow, a few specks of snow. But if it's a tall enough mountain, by the time you get to the bottom, it's a friggin' avalanche that can basically bury an elephant. So invest into the stock market, everybody, and do it literally for decades. For example, let's say your parents open up a brokerage account for you when you were 10 years old, and you invest $250 every month into this bank account. And let's say the day your parents turn 18, the day you turn 18, I'm sorry, your parents give you that bank account, and you continue to invest $250 every month into a good total stock market index fund that averages about 12%. By the time you are 40 years old, you would have roughly $900,000 in that account. By the time you are 50 years old, you would have $3 million into that account. And by the time you are 60 years old, you would have $10 million into the account just by investing $250 every month into it. And the thing about it is that all you did was basically just click a mouse, and that's it. You didn't have to worry about reading the markets. You didn't have to worry about basically fixing broken toilets at 2 o'clock in the morning. You didn't have to worry about becoming a day trader and working 1,000 hours a week, 1,000 hours a year. Literally, all you did was basically click your mouse and just basically continue to buy the same ETFs, the same exchange traded funds, the same real estate investment trust, and the same stock and the same index funds, and you were good to go. So this is why I say, people, that you have to get serious about just your method of building wealth. I push entrepreneurship and I push stocks. That's the route. That's the route that I went, and I went that route because the vast majority of millionaires in America, they are made by those two things, by basically purchasing stock and becoming entrepreneurs. So if you do both, and you cut your spending, and you increase your income, you are literally golden. The last point I want to talk about. Oh, by the way, everybody, please hit that. Please subscribe to the channel. Additionally, please hit that super chat, and keep the questions coming, everybody. Keep the questions coming, okay? And if you're curious, my Cash App is $CHRISP485. CHRISP485. Hey Jay, by the way, if you have any questions for me about real estate, let me know. Okay, let me know. I think it's a good thing. Another point I also want to make about real estate is this: take your income, take your annual household income. Whether if you're married, take both of you and your spouse's income. If you're a single brother, a single sister, take your income, multiply it by 2.5. Okay, and whatever that number is, that's the kind of house you should buy. That you should not buy houses more expensive than that. So if you have an annual household income of $100,000 a year, do not buy a house more than $250,000. If you live in a more expensive market like New York City, DC, LA, or something like that, and you and your spouse make $100,000 that you guys will bring home, and you can't buy a house for $250,000, cool. Move to Nevada, or move to rural Georgia, or move to North Florida, or move to the more rural parts of Maryland, or move to Chicago, to the Midwest, places like that. Thank you for the Cash App, everybody. I appreciate that. But yeah, more or less when you buy a home, more or less when you're looking at your investments and things like that, you're looking at buying a home, Jay. My personal advice is don't buy houses more than 2.5 times what you make. And the reason why I say that is this. They've done a study. There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And when he did a study, the typical American millionaire did not buy a house that was more than 3 times their family's annual income. So one of the biggest misnomers is that once you make a lot of money, you should buy the biggest house possible. What this guy noticed in his book was that people that basically made about $250,000, they never that basically brought home $250,000 combined. They never bought a house that was more than $600,000. So buy a house is essentially no more than 2.5 times of what you make when you actually do are ready to buy a house. Okay, and the last the last investment habit, everyone, that builds generational wealth that I've noticed that works regardless of where you come from, regardless of how you look, is this: start a business and be an entrepreneur. So the reason why I talk about this one is because America just seriously rewards business owners. Like I think people. This is another one thing that kind of pisses me off about just the way financial literacy is not taught in our schools. Because if you knew the power that entrepreneurship has and that people who own businesses have in this country, it would make you literally immediately want to go to LegalZoom.com and start an LLC. And the reason why I say that is this: in America, our entire society is built on the small business. Whether it's whether it's the SEP IRA, whether it's the tax incentives that you get, everything in America is essentially designed around the capitalist side of America is designed around people starting a business and hiring people. So as a result, if you're listening to this, if you own a business, right, when you are a business owner, you get to spend your money first, and then you get taxed. If you are a W-2 employee, i.e., you work for a business, you get taxed first and then you get to spend your money. If you own your own business, you can invest into something called the SEP IRA. Now, with the SEP IRA, that's essentially an IRA that is only for business owners, only for entrepreneurs. You can invest $70,000 a year at the time I'm recording this in 2025 into your SEP IRA. $70,000 a year. At the time I'm recording this, you can only invest $7,000 a year into your Roth IRA or your traditional IRA if you are a W-2 employee. So the way the tax laws are set up, you can invest 10 times more money into your retirement accounts if you are a business owner versus if you are a W-2 employee. And best of all, everybody, if you are a 9-to-5 employee and you have both, you work a 9-to-5 job and you're a business owner, you can have a SEP IRA and you can have a traditional IRA. You can invest into both of them at the same time. Now, every penny that you make, that you put into a SEP IRA has got to come from your business. So, and the IRS checks that and they're serious about it. But people, there are so many business benefits that comes to essentially being an entrepreneur. And then on top of that as well, another thing that I love about entrepreneurs is this. Do you realize that there are so many people, whether it's the Trumps, whether it's the Fords, whether it's the whether it's the Rothschilds, whether it is the Vanderbilts, whether it is the Rockefellers, that are literally still billionaires. That are still literally eating off of what their grandparents and their great grandparents did hundreds of years ago. Hennessy, Sikorsky, Pratt and Whitney, Ford, Chrysler, Toyota, all these companies, Budweiser, Miller, all these companies were started by individuals literally hundreds of years ago, and their great grandchildren are still eating off of their name. Because businesses, everybody, when you start a business and you die, you literally can create trust before you die and give that business to your kids. And if you do it the right way and they don't even pay any taxes on it, it's called an irrevocable trust. But if you are a W-2 employee, you can work for the same company for 40 years, literally make the people who own that company billions of dollars. And if you're lucky, they give you a gold watch and they tell you good job, they pat you in the back and they push you out the door while they hire 2 or 3 people to replace you. So there is no generational wealth being built, unfortunately, when you work to some extent in corporate America. Yeah, you can invest in the stock market. Yeah, if it's possible, if you're lucky, you can get equity in the company. But in general, everybody, when you work in corporate America, the work that you're doing is not necessarily going to the next generation. But if you start a highly successful, I'm going to call it celestial business, that business can literally be given directly to your kids. My children one day will be running Financipation. I don't know how old they're going to be. I don't know when it's going to happen. But my kids will one day be on this channel, running this channel. and me and my wife will be somewhere retired. I don't know, in the Maldives or in the Caribbean or in Africa somewhere or in Europe somewhere, literally just chilling and enjoying our lives, while our kids are essentially running this business. Why? Because it's a business that I started. I have my own LLC and I have my own EIN and I love it. But this business will be theirs. But what I do in corporate America, the billionaires that I work for, the billion-dollar buildings that I built, that doesn't belong to me. So that's another beautiful thing about businesses. And the last thing I'll say about businesses is this. If you take a look at the history of this world, individuals that own businesses, generally speaking, were the ones that made the rules, and they were also the wealthiest. If you don't believe me, think of it like this. The richest family in Italy today was the richest family 700 years ago in the 1300s. I'm sorry, in the 700 years ago in the 1300s. The richest family in mainland China today was the wealthiest family 1,000 years ago. The richest family in Europe today was the same richest family essentially 700 years ago. So the point of the matter is this. The one thing that all those families had in common was they owned businesses. And they still own those businesses. Start a business, everybody. That is literally the last investment habit that I find that creates real wealth. And the good thing about it is you only got to be successful one time. I've started multiple businesses that weren't successful. I mean, I've had gun businesses, I've had personal training businesses, I've had mobile notary businesses. Financipation, though, the finance thing, I've enjoyed that one the most because this is the one I have found has helped the most people. It creates it's a passion of mine, and most importantly, it solves a need. So there, everybody, we're getting a little late. Once again, please hit that super chat button. Please subscribe to the Financipation channel if you have not done so already. I drop weekly content on my podcast every week, and I love going live. I love the interaction session. Are there any other questions you guys want me to answer before I bounce? All right. But yeah, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. You can, appreciate it, DJ. Thank you, fam. Appreciate that. I got to have you back on the channel at some point too, man. Definitely want to talk more about taxes and everything because you were a tax genius. But yeah, by all means, everybody, if you're curious, I am an author. So by all means, please subscribe. Please go to Amazon and purchase my scholarship book. I went to undergrad for free. It's called Scholarships, The Golden Road to Free Money, where I talk about my investment journey, how I obtained hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college for free. Also, I'm not giving you financial advice on this channel. Everybody you must make responsible decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you do for yourself. Okay, and thanks for listening. Check out my website www.therealfinancipation.com. Check out my Instagram, thereal_financipation. Check out my Spotify Financipation. Check out my TikTok Financipation. Check out my Facebook page Financipation as well. Additionally, everybody, once again, if you want to support the channel, hit that super chat. My Cash App is $CHRISP485. Okay, and I check out my financial blog as well, Financipation, where I go into a lot more detail about tariffs. I go into a lot more detail about investing. I go into a lot more detail about taxes. I go into a lot more detail about real estate and things like that. Okay. As I said, check out some of my digital, my e-products below as well, and check out the scholarship book as well. I think it can be purchased essentially on Amazon, okay? With that, everybody, it's your boy Chris. I'm out. If you got any questions, go ahead. Going once, going twice. All right, cool. It's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace. Peace.